Hello, welcome to part 1 of 10, this series on strumming patterns. So whether you're a beginner guitarist or an intermediate guitarist looking to level up your playing, there will be lots of simple, cool tips and tricks over the next 10 lessons to really help you level up your strumming abilities. Cool, so in this lesson we're going to be looking at 3 things. So the first thing will be downstroke, quavers or eighth notes, and also accents, and also palm muting. So the three really cool kind of core techniques. Let's take a look at eighth notes or quavers. So basically in a typical bar of 4/4, which means 4 beats in a bar, okay, you're going to have 8 notes or 8 quavers or eighth notes, okay? So, and you do this just downstrokes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's how you count quavers, okay? So it's really common, especially in kind of sort of styles like punk rock and things like that. And we will be looking at sort of downstrokes and upstrokes in more detail in later lessons, but this is just a kind of cool way to get started. Okay, so this is how you count it. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Of course, this now just do a chord progression. So this is in the key of A minor, a simple chord progression. If you're doing the RGT syllabus here, this is very similar to a grade 2 kind of chord progression. Okay, so we're going to do 2 bars of A minor, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, and then D minor, 3 and 4 and 1. It's really good to count out loud as well. F over C or F, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 bars of that. Then 1 bar of E minor, 1 bar of G. Of course, that's the downstrokes. That's kind of part 1 as it were. So, and now we're going to do accents. So accents are where you're kind of going to hit some of the strums with slightly more velocity or impact. Okay. So what we're going to do is put an accent to start with on the start of beat 2. Okay. So this is how it will sound. Okay. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. So this really brings out something different. Again, to count this, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Of course, you often have this in music, and it's just really, it's not enough stuff, I don't think, online about strumming patterns, how to get good at strumming patterns. So really think this will be worth practicing. Okay, again, with these accents you can put them anywhere in this bar, and we're just working on quavers or eighth notes, so you can change this up. You don't have to do it on the start of beat 2, you can do it somewhere else in the bar. So that's just one accent. Now what we'll do is add another accent. So here we're going to do it on 2 and 4 now. Okay, so same chord progression, 8 bar progression, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And sometimes what you can do is kind of do the bassier notes when you're not accenting. So the accents really kind of sort of sing a little bit more, okay? So I'll do that again. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So definitely count it, because then you'll know exactly where you are and you'll kind of make sense of it all. Cool, so now what we're going to do is going to do some accents off the beat, okay? So this is a little bit more challenging, but a really cool thing to be able to do, okay? So what we're going to do, again, if you think about your 8 quavers, you've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So often doing the accents on the and of the beat can sound really cool, okay? So we're going to do the 2, start of beat 2, then we're going to do the and of 3. So 1 and 2 and 3 and then also the and of 4 as well, okay? And instantly you already kind of see this kind of a quite an ordinary progression strumming already sound a lot more interesting, okay? So the 2 and a 3 and a 4, okay, with the same 8 bar progression. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 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 and 2 and 3. So you can see how that sort of sounds a lot more interesting already. Cool, now palm muting. So palm muting is a kind of a funny one. It's like when you're learning how to drive and you've got to get the kind of biting point on the clutch. It's kind of just takes a bit of time. You're going to develop it over the years. Also playing with different amp settings as well, distortion, and learning how to control palm muting. But basically, using this kind of fleshy part of the hand to sort of dampen down the strings, okay? So you've got to get used to completely muting it and how much pressure you're putting down. Make sure to always practice this with an amp as well. So you can just play with different levels of pressure with your right hand. Again, it will take a bit of time, and it's this thing that you kind of progress through your kind of guitar journey, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to do palm muting. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly the same level of palm muting every time. You can mix it up. And it'll just help to kind of bring the dynamics, because you've got sort of soft places and then you've got accents. So you can really kind of play around with that. Sounds great. So what we're going to do, we're going to take that same progression with those 3 accents and then do palm muting when you're not accenting, okay? So it's going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 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 and 2 and 3 and 4. Again, it is a lot more challenging doing it with open chords, because there's a lot more open strings, so it takes a bit of time to build up. It's actually probably easier to do it with power chords and bar chords, because so open chords can actually be more challenging to do than some of your more challenging chords that you learn later on in your kind of guitar journey. But that's kind of the way I would do it in sort of stages like that. So do downstrokes first, then do 1 accent, 2 accents and 3 accents, and then add palm muting later on. If you're not too comfortable with palm muting to start with, again, you can just do that thing where you kind of do the bassier strings, so the first sort of 2 strings of each chord, so A minor will be the A and the D, and just do those 2 while you're not accenting. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the D chord, you could do the D and the G strings. So that could be something to work with while you develop your palm muting. Cool, so now what I'm going to do is, because I teach the kind of RGT grades quite a lot, I'm going to do a chord progression, doing the same thing, but with a grade 3 style kind of A blues progression, okay? So let me just go through the 8 bar progressions. You've got A5, then we're going to do an E5, 2 bars of G5, 1 bar of A5, C5, D5, and then E5. Okay, if you just take it in that kind of vein again, what we did with the grade 2 progression. By the way, they wouldn't expect you to do these kind of accents and palm muting in grade 2, but it's just something you can apply to that. This is more like grade 3 and 4 kind of standard, okay? It's good to always start early. Cool, okay, so what we're going to do is just do the same thing. So downstrokes first, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and so on. And if you have trouble counting, so actually 1 bar of A5 and the 5th bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have trouble counting, just practice that without any accents and just go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, and now what we're going to do is add 1 accent. So we'll just do the 2 again, okay? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so just really getting you started with these kind of accents. And already that sounds kind of better. So now we're going to do 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3. So just 1 bar of A5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 bars of G5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool, and now we're going to do the bit more challenging one with the accents on 2 and a 3 and a 4. And if you're struggling with recognizing how to change on the ands of the bar, then when you do your first accent, just do one accent, just pick one. So just do, say, the and of 2 or something like that. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and that way you can just gradually build into it, okay? Rather than doing 3 accents all at once, okay? So let's just do that 8-bar progression with the accents on 2 and a 3, and then the and a 4, okay? So 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now if we add the palm muting, that'll just give that extra kind of cool little element to it, okay? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 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 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Cool, and don't forget you can just play around with it. So it's really, especially if you're learning some, I don't know, Green Day or sort of classic punk rock stuff from the 70s or whatever, you know, they have a lot of this kind of power chord accent stuff, downstrokes. So really cool stuff to play. It really sounds good, especially with sort of a bit of crunch and distortion as well. Don't forget you'll have to kind of cut out some kind of the excess string noise and things like that. So again, always play with different amp settings as well. Cool, so hopefully you found that useful. Feel free to give it a like, and any comments or suggestions, feel free to let me know how you're getting on with this in the comment section below. Please subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications if you haven't already. Cool, so yeah, also if you'd like to get any of the tabs that you see appear on the screen, these are all made in Guitar Pro, which is a brilliant program. Allows you to, and relatively inexpensive, allows you to kind of loop sections, play back, basically like a karaoke version of sight reading, but you don't have to be great at sight reading to start with to be able to use it, and it's a really great practice tool, and it actually helps you with this sight reading. Or you can even get it in guitar PDF format as well. So you'll be able to get those from the shop section on the website jsmusicschool.co.uk very soon. Just currently redoing my website, so keep an eye out for that and when that's done. But thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.